What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV, and today we are going to do a things to do across India. Now, obviously, there is a lot to do in this country of 1.3 million people, and we do our best to show you the things to add to your bucket list. And first up, we're going to head to the blue city known as Jodhpur, located in Rajasthan. So why the blue color homes? Well, back in the old days, they say the Brahmin used to use the blue color homes to distinguish themselves from the common people. And the color blue comes from copper sulfate. And next up, we're heading to the holy city in the northern part of India known as Varanasi. Now, this is a very holy city along the Ganga River. Located in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, the city dates back to the 11th century BC, and it's regarded as the spiritual capital of India, bringing in many Hindu pilgrims, where it is considered a sacred ritual to actually swim in the Ganga River, but also people come here for funeral rites and other ceremonial traditions. So add this one to the list. Next up, we're going to go to the Taj Mahal in Agra. Now, the Taj Mahal was built by Shah Jahan. It was for his wife as a tomb. He was actually planning to build another Taj Mahal across the river Yamuna for himself, but his children decided that he was spending too much money, so they put him into a prison, or what we would today call an old man's home. But when you go out to Agra, which is 3.5 hours away from Delhi, you will also notice that they're building a transportation infrastructure. So if you do decide to visit the Taj Mahal, you can also check out around Agra. With a population of 1.6 million people, and while here you can also check out the Red Fort. And another thing that India is very famous for is its wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. They are very friendly to animals. As you know, the wild tiger, a Bengal tiger, can be seen here in India, home of the highest population of wild tigers actually, and many wild elephants. And other animals like monkeys and large reptiles, including snakes and crocodiles. So when you're here, you can check out Jim Corbett National Park, Kanha National Park, and several others across the country. So add safari to your list. Next up, we're going to check out the Lotus Temple in Delhi, India. So the Lotus Temple is actually home to Baha'i. It represents a lotus flower. The interesting thing about the lotus flower is it is a universal symbol of perseverance and life, because a lotus flower grows in a very fungus-filled, algae-filled, bacteria-filled environment, but grows up to become a beautiful flower, kind of like people, right? So do add this Baha'i temple to your list. Next up, we're going to head up to the Himalayas. Now remember, the Himalayas are the tallest mountain range in the world. Also in countries like Bhutan and Nepal, also India, of course. But up here, you can do trekking and exploring around this high altitude environment. The Himalayas are broad and do expand across the majority of northern India, so do be aware of that. It's not just a destination, it's a large mountain range, expanding all the way from Kashmir and Punjab all the way across to the southern border of Nepal. And the interesting thing about the Himalayas is this is actually where the Dalai Lama, the head of the Buddhist faith, actually resides, way up here in northern India. So you will find a small population of Buddhist monks living up here in northern India among the mountains and in the snow, in the village known as Dharamsala. All right, next up, we're going to make it a no-brainer, but it's something that you should do or try to do is street food, Indian street food. Now, you're going to hear people telling you, be careful eating street food, and I'm going to tell you, absolutely, do be careful, be aware, because they say that sometimes there's recycled cooking oils and not the best hygienic practice, but trying street food is delicious, and you might be missing out if you're just 100% too scared to try any of the street food. But some of the best food that I had was straight off the food vendors. So do keep an open mind and a empty belly when you're heading through the streets of Delhi's food markets. Next up, go down to Goa. Goa is actually considered the travel tourism capital of India, believe it or not. It's also the smallest state and has the wealthiest people in all of India if you count per capita income. But down here, you're going to find a lot of beach activities and water sports on the beaches and some temples. So get ready to do some fishing and some jet skiing and parasailing and other water sport activities, as well as some trekking around the beautiful jungle, where you may find some waterfalls. People also come down here to do yoga and stay at some of the retreats and resorts along the waterfront and in the jungle environment. And just look at how beautiful these sunsets are out here in Goa. Anyways, on to the next one. We're heading back to Delhi, but this time to New Delhi, where the India Gate environment is. This is actually where the parliamentary seat of India is located. It's the capital. So India Gate is an amazing place if you like to study the history of the establishment of independent India and familiarize yourself with Mahatma Gandhi. Next up, we're going to Chandni, Chowk, which is actually a spice market and a food market that you can explore. The amazing energy down here in Old Delhi is exciting and full of aroma from all of the variety of spices. It's like every spice from India you can smell just all through the streets and alleyways here, including cumin and turmeric and cinnamon. You name it, you're going to get it here. Also, you'll get some black salt, some pink salt, along with the pricey saffron. So bring some small change and some big bills when you come down here to do some shopping. For $10, you'll be pretty happy with what you come away with. Anyways, next up, we're going to show you around some ancient wells. This is a big thing that India had going on all across the north and even into the south. So you can find these wells in Rajasthan. You can also find some in Uttar Pradesh and around Delhi. But these are really incredible architectural engineering marvels. And the reason these were built was because when the monsoon rains would happen, they wanted to capture as much of the water as they can. Some of these wells would hold water anywhere between 15 to 30 days after it had dried up and the monsoons had gone. Nowadays, most of these wells are pigeon bird feeders, but they still have an incredible historical relevance from the medieval era. Next up, we're actually headed over to Qutab Minar, which is also in the area of Delhi. Now here, it used to be a Hindu temple, but then the conquerors came from the Mughal Empire. They made it into a Muslim mosque. So along with the architecture here, it does have some historical relevance because at one point in time, the tower was actually the tallest brick structure in the entire world when it was finished. So if you do plan to visit Delhi, add Qutab Minar to your bucket list. Next up, we're heading out to Punjab to the Sikh temple. It's actually known as the Golden Temple, located in Amritsar in Punjab. Now, the interesting thing about the Golden Temple is the full golden dome at the top, which makes it one of the most sacred spots for Sikhs to have a pilgrimage. All right, now we're going to head over to the Amber Palace located in Amber, Rajasthan. Now, this is a very important place near Jaipur where you can also see elephants walking around. As I said previously, Jodhpur and Jaipur are very important places you'll want to consider adding to your list, and the Amber Fort is certainly worth a look. And when it comes to the colorful elephants and the elephant rides, that's up to you if you want to actually do that activity, but nonetheless, it is part of the culture, so I'm not going to judge it. And if you have an extensive amount of time in India, one of the things you can do is ride the train. They do have sleeper trains. Some of them are luxury and some of them are economy. Economy class tends to be a little bit more rough, but more affordable, whereas the luxury train routes can be more scenic and enjoyable, but they still take a long time. That's why I say if you plan to visit India, one of the best ways to see India is going to be by train. And I can give you one route that you may consider above all else. It's probably going from Delhi to Mumbai. The speed of the train is a bit faster, and so is the luxury capacity a bit better than most trains in India. And speaking of Mumbai, let's talk about the Queen's Necklace along Marine Drive. Now, this is a very beautiful environment that you're going to get here, where there's going to be 5-star hotels and other beautiful accommodation nearby. And it is centrally located in a part of Mumbai that you'd want to be. So if you plan to visit that area, definitely consider Queen's Necklace Marine Drive right here in Mumbai. And the reason it's called the Queen's Necklace is because when viewed at night from an elevated position, The lights on the street resemble that of a string of pearls on a necklace. And at the very least, you can eat at a restaurant here and take a drive along Marine Drive when you're in town. Now, next up, we're going to head to Jaipur, and I'm going to say, along with Jodhpur, which we did mention, checking out Jaipur, the whole city, the whole area. This is what makes Rajasthan so special, is the fact that they have this kind of golden triangle connection with Delhi and Agra. Some would call it the Royal City or the Pink City, the Old City. Others might call it the Paris of India. This is where the old royal family in the region resided back in the 1700s. Next up, let's talk about the Ellora Caves, which is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site made up of 34 monasteries and temples extending over an area of 1.5 miles. These were dug side by side in a wall of a high basalt cliff. So it's a very unique experience when you come to this location because of the way they built this temple and monastery. And you'll see many statues carved made out of the stone that are of elephants. They say it was built anywhere between 750 to 780 AD by Krishna, who was the uncle of Danturba. So these Hindu caves were built in 2 phases, and you got to check this place out if you're going to come out here to India near Aurangabad. And with that said, you're going to also want to check out the many temples across India. Like I said, they have Hindu temples, then they have Buddhist temples. They also have Muslim mosques. They have some Christian churches. They also have many Sikh temples, old places of worship, new places of worship, including the Hare Krishna. And as we showed you previously, the Lotus Temple in Delhi. So there's a whole bunch of different temples that you can explore here. Really, a lot of religions all kind of coexisting together here in India. So do be ready for temples. Also, next up, Gateway of India. This here area in Mumbai is considered the gateway into all of the rest of India. That's where it gets its name. Right next to it is actually the Taj Palace, which is a beautiful hotel. So when you come to Mumbai, if you want to get right on the waterfront, you want to catch a ferry to one of the neighboring islands around Mumbai, you can do all of that right here at the Gateway of India. And as I mentioned, the Taj Palace, which is right next door, check out this beautiful hotel. It's a 5-star hotel, and it's not going to break the bank if you want to stay there. So check prices if you're in the area and you want to stay at a very historical place right in the heart of Mumbai, along the waterfront. Now, we're going to talk about the Red Forts. So there's 2 that I would say you can add to your list if you're into the history. You have the Red Fort in Delhi and you have the Red Fort in Agra. So when you go to the Taj Mahal, right down the road is the Red Fort right along the Yamuna River. If you go to Old Delhi, right next to the marketplace there is going to be the Red Fort in Delhi. And the reason it's called a red fort is because it's made of red sandstone built by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. So next up, we're going to head north again to Rishikesh. Rishikesh, right next to Haridwar, are 2 very sacred sites just like Varanasi. We did make a full video on Rishikesh and Haridwar if you wanted to see that, but people come up here to learn about yoga and spirituality. This is at the foothills of the Himalayas, and you can do definitely some yoga up here if you want to train. Also, there was the Beatles ashram up here. And you can see the famous bridge that's going across the Ganga River. Another thing that people like to do up here is whitewater rafting up and down the raging Ganga River. Now remember, this is Himalayan snow melt or sometimes rain melt, so this river can get rushing pretty quick. But you can see there are temples hidden up in the jungle environment here. Very lush, very beautiful place. And next up, we're going to head over to Bollywood in Mumbai. This place here where Juhu Beach is and several other places like Banda is where many of the Bollywood celebrities hang out. So remember, when you're in India, if you want to be around Bollywood, you're going to want to go to Mumbai. And essentially, Bollywood is a mix of words between Bombay and Hollywood. That's where they came up with the term Bollywood. So Bombay being the old name for Mumbai. But in case you're wondering what Bollywood is still at this point, it is basically Hindi cinema. This is where the actors and actresses hang out. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this travel guide of things to do in India, you can watch more of our other videos. In fact, I would recommend you check out our Mumbai and Delhi edits. Those were very good, and we will see you guys on the next one.